Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the stream. This last couple hours has been absolutely bonkers for me. And literally up to like 2 seconds ago, my headphones were like on the floor in a complete mess. I was over here like trying to turn the camera on, the lights on. I have a really sleek setup where it's very efficient. I have everything kind of permanently mounted. But what's crazy is it still takes me like 7 minutes or whatever it is to turn everything on, push all the buttons, make sure all the software is up. It's just kind of insane. So I apologize for starting late here today. But the good news is the last 2 hours, I have done a week's worth of work. If you ever were to be a fly on the wall in my life, it is insanity, just insanity. Not just because I have 4 kids and am juggling a bajillion things in my life, but when I have an idea that I want to do something, I just go full force and I just like bulldoze through the walls and make it happen. So literally 2 hours ago, I got a domain, I built a website, and I created and uploaded sample libraries. There's a free one you can download right now, and there's a paid one that's on sale. And we'll dive into all of that. But needless to say, I am out of breath. Absolutely out of breath right now. But I appreciate you guys for being here. So welcome to the Live Composing Show. I am Stephen Melin. I'm a music composer for film, games, TV, etc. And the purpose of this show is to help you guys. And that takes many forms. Sometimes it's Q&A with you. Sometimes it's me teaching you something that I've learned from the industry. Sometimes it's me interviewing A-list composers. And other times it's this. It's the live composing show where I actually write music live with you. Now today is a little bit different because I decided to create a sample instrument company called Simple Samples Audio. Now, this has actually been an idea that I've had for a while, but it just wasn't the right timing. I didn't quite know what steps to take to execute it. And for those of you who understand, yes, I got a haircut. Thank you. For those of you who know my personality, I'm big on sticky notes. I wish I could take the camera and show it, but like I literally have right now, I have 5 pads of sticky notes right now that are all filled out. It's madness. This is my life, guys, because the way that my brain works, this is not the way that everyone works. I understand that. For any of you who care about the Enneagram numbering system, I'm a 3, which means I'm an overachiever. But life still has its time constraints, right? So for me, when I have an idea, I can't just act on it because that'd be irresponsible because I have other responsibilities. I have projects that are due. I have teammates that I'm managing. I have so many things going on. So I can't usually just stop what I'm doing, pursue the idea, and just let, the things crumble. So instead, what I do is I take sticky notes. I think they're so great because it forces me to actually think out an idea. So what I do is I'll take something, and like literally here's my list for this morning. You can't even see it, but it's a list of getting a domain, setting up the shop, setting up what will soon be an affiliate program for those of you interested, and uploading all the different products and stuff. So like literally I had a checklist, and so what I do is I just brain dump everything on my mind about an idea. So the idea was start a sample instrument company. Okay, so I need to have a Facebook page. I need to have an Instagram page. I need to have a website. I need to have the products up. I need to have my email sequence connected to it so that when someone purchases something, they're connected. I can follow up and give updates. So this is the nature of it. So instead of saying, oh man, I'll do that one day, no, I write it down. And that way I have a list. And that way I don't have to get to it right now. And that's kind of my point. I have 5 stacks of sticky notes to other things and other ideas that I haven't gotten to yet because I had to pick one, right? But when I sat down this morning, 2 hours ago, I said, okay, here we go, sticky notes, let's go. And I literally put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I don't look at emails. I don't go to social media. I just get the crap done. And I know I'm kind of going on a diatribe here this morning, but this is a pretty common question that I get from composers. You guys are awesome, and you're always talking with me through the Discord, through the Screen Music Academy, on the Facebook group. You guys send me emails, you send me DMs, and there's a theme about how can I be productive with my time? And that's it right there. You write stuff down and then you do it. You don't allow yourself to get distracted by other things. So with all that said, I'm so glad you guys are here. There's a bunch of you here in the room. So what's up, Xavier, Raphael, Rob, Phil, Robin, what's up? I can't quite read all of your comments. You got quite a few here, but appreciate you guys being here. And thanks for waiting a little bit longer to get started here today. So what I want to do today is just first and foremost, let's talk about the Sample Instrument Company, and we'll kind of dive into some of the specifics of why I made it, what you can expect down the line as I build this thing out, and kind of what are the ideas, what are the sticky notes, because literally I have a whole pad right there of my ideas for what to record and who to hire and that kind of stuff to build these. And then I'll show you some examples and we'll play some, okay? Does that sound good? And of course, as always, today's more of a talking episode anyway. It's less of writing music, but as always, as you guys have questions, I love chatting with you guys. That's really why I like to do these. It's a little bit more personal than the third wall of, is that what you call it? Like when you're watching a video, it's very one-dimensional, right? It's not really a conversation, but I like to have conversations with you guys. So anyway, let's chat. So let me pull up the site here, and I encourage all of you during this stream or right afterwards, if you're interested, go over to simplesamplesaudio.com. It's brand stinking new. It's like 2 hours old, but over here, so it's not fully fleshed out yet. I'll make it much prettier and all that good stuff, but you can at least get the gist of it right now. So yeah, Simple Samples Audio. Let me just take a second to explain the concept, and I'll make it all pretty later. But here's the idea. I believe in simplicity, period. I believe simplicity, which is the opposite of complexity, right? Simplicity allows artistry and creativity to happen. You guys see me do this all the time when I'm writing my projects, right? I pick a template or I create a series of instruments, and then I force myself for the rest of the soundtrack, hours of music later, to still remain with that template. Many of you know that I've been working on a game called Realmweaver Tactics. I finished all of phase 1, and actually in 2 weeks or less, it's like exactly 2 weeks. There's the recording session with the Budapest strings over in Hungary. So excited about that. Got all the sheet music done, and it looks gorgeous, and I'm so excited about it. The tracks sound amazing. We actually got Arlie Brighton to record vocals. Remember you guys, we were joking about that? Hey, I wonder if we could get Arlie. We did it, and we recorded her, and now she's on some of the tracks, and it sounds flippin' amazing. But yeah, so we're about to record with the orchestra and have all that stuff done, and during that little crunch time of 3 hours or of 3 weeks of getting all that stuff, 22 minutes of music, it actually turned into 25. This is insane, guys. 25 minutes of recorded music, which really means like, I don't know, 32 or 35 minutes of music that we've already written, because a lot of it is sampled stuff or soloists that we're going to record later. But the idea is I was forced into a template of simplicity where I was explicitly told by the developer, do not use piano, because this is meant to be kind of an old world medieval feel. So we specifically needed to use Dulcimer and hurdy-gurdy on every track. And that was a challenge. That was a limitation that forced me to be creative. So simplicity in its essence is all about saying no to a bunch of things, right? It's saying yes to one thing so that you can say no to all the other things. And that exclusivity of focusing allows you to double down and allows you to be creative within your limitations. So the way that this applies to sample instruments, every one of us have been there where we go and we spend $400 on a big, fancy, top-tier sample library. And it has a million bells and whistles, and there's thousands of patches inside. But what actually happens, I can say this because I've been reviewing libraries for years, and I've owned and used dozens of the top tier products over the last 5 years. I don't even know how much now. It's well over $20,000. It might even be closer to $30,000 worth of top tier products in my contact, in my my sample library drives. I have 2 drives. Like it's a lot. What I've learned is every time I get one of these new products, I get really excited about it because it's cool, it's fancy, and it has a million velocity layers and articulations and advanced mappings and functionality and key switches versus pedal versus blah, 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 right? But here's the challenge. How many of those patches do I actually use when I write music? 1%? 5%? Maybe? I could tell you right now, and if any of you who watch these live composing shows regularly, you could probably already tell the instruments I'm going to choose before I write a piece of music and the exact patches. This is literally why in Contact I set it up to where I have a favorites menu. Can I show you? I'm on my computer here. Let me show you. And we'll dive into the other stuff. But look, if I create a new track, I go to Contact. And if I open it up, I literally have, right here, when I right click, I have this entire menu of all of my favorite libraries for every possible scenario. For orchestral music, for section combos, for brass, choir, harp, blah, 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 right? So I've already preset these things. But here's the thing. Even within those Contact libraries, I could just tell you right now, if you said, all right, I need piano and strings, I'm going to open up Keyscape. I'm going to go to the cinematic piano patch, which is 1 patch out of 1,000. And I'm going to open up 8-dio adagietto strings. I'm going to get either the swells patch, which is concertino, or I'm going to get the legato ensemble patch. So right there, that Keyscape is like $500, and I'm literally using 1 patch that I use for everything, or most of the time, 90% of the time. And then Adagietto, it's still an inexpensive library, but it's, $200 or whatever. And I'm only using 2 patches. And this is true of all the things that I use. I could talk about woodwinds, how I only use 1 patch from, what's the name? The Woodwinds Ensembles patch, which is from, who did that one? Lord have mercy on my soul. I have to find out so I don't embarrass myself too bad. This is why I have favorites. I don't like to remember. Sonokinetic Woodwind Ensembles. That's what it is. That's like my go-to woodwinds. It's 1 patch, literally 1 patch. If I want choir, I'm going to go straight to probably, I don't even know anymore. There's so many, but I'm going to use my cheat sheet here. You guys can watch. Look, if I'm going to go to choir, so under orchestral choir, I'm going to use Ensolidus Choir from 8-dio. And look, I've even recorded my own choir, by the way. Isn't that just fantastic? Right there, the Dark Dice Choir. Let's have some fun. This is not even something I was going to show today. But just because I can. I'm really curious about what that sounds like. This has nothing to do with our conversation, but I really want to find it. Because that could actually be one that I make, if you guys are interested. I have so many instruments that I've made over the years, and I've just never done anything with them. But yeah, check this out. So these are seconds. Let's see what any of this sounds like. Where is it? Like, that's a real choir that I recorded. I think I made a multi once. Let's see what that sounds like. Which is not great. It's super limited, but you get the idea. It's simple. Oh yeah, like this is a real choir I recorded, guys. It's a creepy ass choir. But I recorded that in like a Bloodborne style. That would be a cool free one if you guys are interested. But I have a bunch of these. Like, it just blows my mind how much I've made and recorded over the years. And it's time to do something about it. So the whole idea of simplicity is that right there. I hope you you can feel my passion and energy about this. That when I want something cool and interesting, I just find the one patch, I put it in there, and I move on. I write the dang music. What's super frustrating to me as a composer is when I open up a patch and it has so many controls and I have to relearn how to play a keyboard, and I'm a pianist by trade. If it doesn't make sense within 5 seconds of playing it, I'm not going to use it later in life. And I've done a lot of reviews of these big companies, and I'm not going to pick on anybody because there's a place, there's a purpose for that level of complexity. That's if you're going for ultra fine detail and you want one patch to do a million different jobs. But at my core, I just feel like simplicity is everything. I want to pull up one patch to do one thing, and it's going to be the best thing at the thing. And I think Embertone does this so exceedingly well. I was referencing the other day the Chapman trumpet. Let me show you this to you guys, because this is exactly the business model I'm aiming for here. So this is called the Chapman trumpet. If you don't have this, go get it. It's from Embertone. I think it's about $30. Let me see if I can pull it up here. So orchestral, brass, solo, Chapman trumpet. They also have a Chapman tuba that comes with it, which is pretty cool. But it's literally one trumpet player, and they recorded it with ultra seamless legato. And it's, to this day, it's the trumpet that I use for everything. Because it's so dang good, and it does one thing. But you see what an incredible simple patch, right? So that is very much the idea that I am preaching here today, the idea of simplicity. Because I think as a composer, you get way more value for your buck, right? You get exactly what you pay for. You're not getting fluff. You're just getting the exact patch or patches that really serve you best in what you need. And you're not shelling out hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. You're paying 30 or 60 or whatever to get exactly what you need. So this clearly pumps me up. This is something that's very exciting to me. Let me answer some comments here because you guys are going nuts and I love it. Raphael says, Steven, why was the live stream named Composing Life of Mana? Okay. So long story short, this is not the Mana series, but it's an indie game that is very much in the style of Chrono Trigger and the Mana series. And that is a project that I may or may not be working on moving down the line, but I was going to do a live composing stream about that, but changed my mind. And so that's not going to happen right now. But instead, I decided to do this stream right now where we're talking about sample instruments, which to me is a higher priority with my time at the moment. But anyway, it is a very nice trumpet, Xavier, yes. Phil says, I like what Phil says. He says, niche libraries are the way to go. So we need to update Contact, though. I'm still on 5. Yeah, I hate that Contact 5 just isn't up to par anymore. So I've had to make all of my new libraries in 6. So sorry if you don't have 6. You're going to have to get it to use any of the libraries that I'm making. It just makes sense to keep it consistent with the market, because chances are if you have any other libraries and if you already have 5 and you haven't switched to 6, you're going to have to anyway. Even Native Instruments, they have a cutoff point. I think Noir was their very first 6 instrument back in December of last year, and ever since then, everything they make is now exclusively 6 and above. So technology has to have a shelf life, and so 5 has been around for a very long time, and they have to give it the boot. Anyway, it's exactly like Mac OS or whatever. Just things get old. What else you guys saying? Oh, Jane says, I would really enjoy if you uploaded some of your pianos, especially the one in Sadness. Oh, I appreciate that. As you know, I'm a keyboardist, and I will undoubtedly be creating some pianos for you guys and keyboard instruments, because that's just something I love and use all the time. But I have to be careful. It's not legal or okay for me to repackage and sell libraries that I'm already using. But I can highly recommend, if you don't have Keyscape, I think that's the best on the market as far as value, as far as the bang for your buck, and it's just the nicest sounding Yamaha C7 grand pianos out there, because they're close mic'd. Noir by Native Instruments, I just mentioned them. I think that's a close second, but it's a very jazzy, bluesy type of piano sound. Even though it's the exact same piano, it's recorded in different ways, different mics. But until I release some of my own piano stuff, you'll have to deal with that. However, one of the instruments we're talking about today, the Beard Blade Toolkit, does have actually like 4 pianos inside of it in the 16-bit style. So let's talk about 2 things, and then we'll talk about the direction that we're going from here. I know I'm jumping all over the place today, but you guys are great. So the first thing I want to show is what is currently going on online. So the first thing, if you have not yet followed Simple Samples Audio, just created this Instagram page. That's why there's like no one following it. But go follow that on Instagram, and you'll notice that I already have a bunch of little fun clips of where I go through and I play different little video game tunes using the samples and the patches that I've already created. So for example, just a little taste. So here's the flute, for example, from my Beard Blade pack. Yeah, you get a picture. So that's it's a lot of fun. If you want to go geek out with all my video game music there, you can enjoy that, and just kind of showcases some of the patches there. Go follow me on Simple Samples Audio. You'll get lots of info about what's coming up there. And then same goes for Facebook. I have a Facebook page now, Simple Samples Audio, at Simple Samples Audio. So that'll keep you up to date on all the latest happenings. So go follow that. Appreciate it. So yeah, back to the site here. Just kind of talk about why simplicity matters to me and why I think it's so important that we do that as sample creators. We need to do a better job of making simple things that people actually need and want and will use, and they're not getting caught up in all the hoopla of marketing. And then over here on the website, I mean, it's super bare bones, guys, but I promise I'll be putting a lot of stuff on here really soon. That's actually what I'm planning to do right after this stream. So if you're not happy with what you see yet, that's because that's literally 2 hours of work instead of days and days. So I actually have a backlog of a lot of stuff. We'll talk about at the end of the future of what is coming. It makes me super excited. But for now, let's talk about what is here and what you can grab right this instant. First and foremost, as of 10 minutes ago, I uploaded the Enzo Hammered Dulcimer. This is a free patch. I'll do some fancy explanations and put some SoundCloud links and junk and videos up here later. But for now, best hammered dulcimer on the market for free. Yeah, betcha. So the hammered dulcimer, go down on that. Enjoy. So I recently came in contact with a man named Enzo in the UK, who is honestly probably one of the best medieval string instrument players on the planet. He is someone that I hire regularly. If you ever want contact information, I can hook you up. But he plays the hurdy-gurdy, the hammered dulcimer, all the different forms of lutes. And he literally, in his studio in the UK, has, oh my goodness, I don't know, 100, maybe 200 medieval instruments. And that's what he does for a living, is he records for people. He's just an incredible human being. And I've worked with him a lot in the last couple years, working on a soundtrack called Dark Dice, which is an audio drama by Fool and Scholar Productions. And that's actually why I recorded the choir last year. But he's like our go-to guy for any of those old school medieval, like Gothic instruments. And I actually hired him recently so that we could create this patch. And so this is my first time ever hiring someone exclusively for the purposes of creating a patch. So I'm going to be doing way more of this down the line. And for any of you that download these instruments, I'm going to be updating these as we go. So if you guys find any errors with them, they have not been exhaustively play tested, but I've done a lot of work to massage. I've made them for me, and that's how you know it's good. And I don't say that, to BS, but like, I hate bad sample libraries so much so that when I go and buy sample libraries, I'm usually disappointed. And so I just say, screw it, I'm gonna make my own. And I've never found a good hammered dulcimer. I've never found a good hurdy-gurdy. And I actually have one that I'm working on that I'll be releasing soon. And it sounds identical to the real thing. And it's insane to me. I just I don't feel like I'm anything special when it comes to programming. And I think it might just be my knack for detail or my the way that I work with musicians to record, that I don't have to do a lot of editing in post. Or maybe it's my background with Pro Tools and audio editing and working with other composers. I don't know. I don't know why it seems to be so difficult for other people to make good quality samples, but just like solo cellos suck. And that's actually, I'll talk about it later, but that's one of the samples I'm working on right now. And I'm like, why after 3 minutes of me editing does this sound better than everything on the market? I don't understand. I don't know what they're doing or why people are spending tens of thousands of dollars to hire the best musicians in the best halls when I'm not, and I'm just getting like good, clean, raw samples. And maybe that's just my sense and my knack for raw. Like, I love raw audio that we as composers, I don't want polished stuff. That's why I hate East-West samples so much, because they're so overly produced and they're so compressed, and all the dynamic range and the grit and character is gone. And that's why I don't like that. So anyway, my diatribe here is, let's play some music. Just so you guys can know what you're getting yourself into here. So this is the Enzo hammered dulcimer. Hopefully you agree that this has a lot of character with the different round robin samples. I highly recommend, if you are going to use this, hold down the pedal. That way you're getting the full sustain. But I use this all the time for my tracks now. It's without any reverb or anything. It's just the room tone. So it's pretty simple, right? But what you could do, and as I encourage all of you to do, since I'm giving you more or less raw samples, they sound good, but if you really want your samples to sound the best they possibly can, put some reverb in it. Create a space of your own that matches the track that you're on. So let me put a 2C audio, if I could find it. Where's my 2C? Where'd he go? Something screwy's going on. Let me reload that patch. I may have made it a mono track by accident, but I'm going to pop on. Oh, there it is. There's my Aether. There it is. There's my beautiful reverb. But yeah, if we do the Enzo hammer dulcimer, which is now hiding. La, 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 la. Guys, I have like 20 instruments that I could put up, which is, that's why this is really happening, because I've made so much stuff over the years and I just haven't thought that it was marketable or that anyone would want it. But now I'm learning I was very wrong. Apparently I'm pretty good at this. Where the heck is it? Let me find it. Can you tell this is an impromptu type of stream today? I promise I tried to get prepared for this, but then time happened. Anyway, so here it is. Here's the same sample, but if I just put it through a basic studio room, it changes the character completely. So I imagine most of you guys are going to be using this for fantasy. So you're probably going to, honestly, probably put it in a hall. And that's so realistic. I'm not sure how much you guys know about hammer dulcimer, but it's a guy with 2 mallets, or girl, with 2 mallets, it's a bunch of strings, and there's something about the repetition that the other dulcimers I've heard on the market just sound so fake, or they're like overly compressed. And there's something about this that you might want to add some compression. I've actually added compression to this when I use it sometimes, because in an orchestra, for example, you don't need this dulcimer over here with extreme dynamic range for the exact same reason that you might put a compressor on a piano in a pop track, because you don't want it to have all this dynamic range. But I want you as the composer to decide that, not me. And out of the box, you know, if you're just doing a solo or you're doing a duet or trio or something, so yes, to be clear, since you guys are asking in the chat, everything I make, for better or worse, it does require full version contact. And here's why. I'm not sure if you guys know about this, but it costs about $5,000 to $10,000 to license a library for, the left pane of a contact instrument. It's a marketing thing. So for example, over here, this is why so many libraries don't do this anymore, because it's so dang expensive to put, like all these big guys right here. They're the big guys for a reason, because, they got lots of money, and they're going to put the cost into buying the licensing to have their instrument on the left pane here. For the same reason that you can buy a license to make your instrument available for the player version. That way more people will want to buy it. But honestly, sorry, that makes no sense to me. If you are a composer in 2020 and you don't have contact, what are you doing with your life? Because that means you can't make your own instruments. And as much as I love selling instruments now, I also am going to continue making my own, because there's nothing like making your own instrument. It's so easy too. So if you guys actually are interested in this, I want to choose my words carefully. It is an art skill. It's an art form. It's a skill set that you have to learn the technology. You have to learn where the buttons are and how to drag stuff in and where all the little mechanisms are. And it might take you a couple weeks to start to understand how to do it. It's not really an easy thing, but it's a simple process once you know what to do. And once you have a microphone, you can start recording your own sounds and turning them into instruments. That's a game changer. The only other platform I would suggest, maybe, that would be a free platform, is EXS24, which is built into Logic Pro. But honestly, it's a really crappy editor, and it has more problems than solutions. But Contact is really the future of sampling. So please do yourself a favor. Instead of griping to me about, why don't you pay the $10,000 so this is available for the Contact player so I can save $50? Whatever. You're a composer. You should have Contact. The end. 3-hour-old coffee. Oh, yeah. Okay, here we go. Anyway, so there's the Dulcimer. I hope you guys really enjoy that. I wish it was truly free for you, but I can't give you anything more than that. I can't give you a license to Contact. Right? But yeah, enjoy that. That's a really cool plugin, or a cool sample. Let's move on to the main event here today. Let's talk about Beard Blade. I don't know why I had to say it like that, but let me pull it open here. Beard Blade. So let me tell you guys a little bedtime story. You ready? I have to hide some sensitive information real quick. always forget that I'm live and I can't share everything as much. Like if you were here in the studio with me, I would totally show you everything on my screen, but that's just not real life. Sorry. Da, 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 da. So in the meantime, there we go. All right, now we can start showing up. There we go. Okay. You guys have no idea what I'm even talking about. All right. So let's have a little bedtime story. You ready? So once upon a time, there was a game called Beard Blade. Let me show it off real quick. See if I can pull it up. Just so you're not thinking I'm talking about razors and weird stuff like that. All right. Here, I'll pull it up on Steam so you guys can see what's going on. All right. So once upon a time, there was a game called Beard Blade. I was hired on to do this soundtrack many moons ago. It's like 5 or 6 years ago. My gosh. It was one of my first bigger soundtracks, and it was exclusively 16-bit. So it's created in the Super Nintendo / Game Boy Advance style. And I had so much fun working on that soundtrack. Ended up writing an ungodly amount of music because the entire game takes place in daytime and nighttime. Every level has all these different features and functions that change throughout the day. So imagine Donkey Kong Country 2 mixed with Super Mario World 2, which is Yoshi's Island, with a hint of Rystar, like the Sega platformers. So what happened was this game is actually still in development. It unfortunately has fallen into the category of Owlboy, which is a great game, just a small team that this is not their full-time gig. This is what they do on the evenings and weekends. So it's an absolute labor of love. The devs have been cranking out. Glovebox Games has been cranking on this for years, and it looks incredible. And what's kind of crazy is I finished the soundtrack like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. And it's a huge soundtrack. So unfortunately, not many people are aware of this game yet. And really the big challenge was that they did a Steam Greenlight and they did a Kickstarter that unfortunately was not successfully funded. And that was going to be the way that the devs were able to do this full time and get it ready in like a year instead of 6 or whatever it's been. So it will come out eventually. And when it does, I'm going to, sing praises because of all the demos I've played, and I've played a lot of that game while scoring it. It's incredible, and it's going to make a big splash once it finally releases, and I'm really excited for them. But with all of that said, as with every game that I work on, I make my own samples. I'm not sure if you knew that. That's something that I take to heart, and this game was no different. So what I did is, without going into all the nitty-gritty technical talk here, there is a process called downsampling, and there's a process called bit crushing. And essentially, it's taking an orchestral sound that you could record yourself or you can get from a library that you've licensed, whatever, and it's the process of crushing that into a new sound that is almost unrecognizable. And it converts it, in a sense, into the 16-bit sound. So without giving you a huge history lesson here, I have videos on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out about how to create 16-bit music from scratch if you don't have libraries. And I recommend you do that. I think it's an incredibly fun thing to do, but it's also highly technical. If you're not into audio editing, don't bother. But I love audio editing. So the idea is the Super Nintendo composers. So we're talking Nobuo Uematsu, Koji Kondo, Yasunori Mitsuda, Yoko Shimomura, all the big, great Square Enix composers and Nintendo composers, whoever. Nintendo handed them a sound set for the Super Nintendo, and like 5 games in history actually used it because it was terrible, like worse than MIDI sounds. And all these composers, these big composers, them or their programmers, whoever they were, they said, you know what, these sounds are awful. Let me just make my own sounds. And so they did. So that's why every Super Nintendo game and Game Boy Advance game has a different sound set. They had extremely limited memory, and so they had to create their own samples from scratch. So what they would do is they would take keyboard sounds, and they would do this process. They would downsample, and then they would bit crush. And what they would do is they would convert these sounds and turn them into samplers. And then very much like we're doing today, they take up, they didn't have Contact back then, but essentially what I'm doing today is I take each of those waveforms and I slap them back into Contact. I do the pitch and I massage them until each of them has their own unique character and they're very musical and playable. So with all that said, I came up with a bigger than this list, but this is, what I can sell you. A bunch of instruments that made the soundtrack what it is, and it's absolutely a blast. So just for fun, let's play. Let's see if I can find something here for you guys. You guys still with me? You hanging in there? This is like Stephen Talks Day. Sorry. I typically like to let the music speak for itself. So here's a small portion of the soundtrack that you might recognize some of this, just to get an idea of what sound we're going for. So the point is, this soundtrack that I wrote is highly stylized. It is intentionally hearkening back to the 16-bit era sounds. But many of you may have noticed that this is something that's really hard to do. It took me years to figure out how to actually do this. And it's a series of programming, but it's also a series of audio editing. And you gotta kind of find the marriage of both to really get that nostalgic sound. And with anything, if you don't throw the right reverb on top of it, SNES Verb by Impact Soundworks, they have an incredible Super Nintendo reverb emulation plugin that does the proper slap delays. And that's a plugin I use a lot. And it's something that can help take this style to the next level if you want it. But if you want to go the N64 route of taking these bass samples and just doing a large amount of reverb, it's the exact same sounds. And then you could actually go the other direction of N64 and early PS1 soundtracks. So it's the same samples that you could use for either. But without boring you there, if you want to listen to that soundtrack, go for it. And again, that's only a portion of the soundtrack. I think we had, like 110 minutes or so of music for this little platformer. But yeah, one of you who said that, Arfo said, if David Wise didn't do the Donkey Kong Country, didn't create his own sounds, it wouldn't be as amazing. And I totally agree. So much of the character of old games is the sounds they created. So what I'm hoping you can get if you grab the Beard Blade Toolkit, which is on sale now, just as a launch sale, $20. Retail $30. If you guys want to take advantage of that over this launch week, go for it. Again, I'm not charging much for these because I don't want to. I could charge $100 for that, but I don't want to. There's something at the core of sample instrument industry that just bugs me about how much people charge for things that are really not that great. So I'd much rather flip the script and give you something that's super great that is way underpriced. I just think it's kind of funny. So I hope that serves you well. But here we go. Let's open up some of these just to have some fun for a little bit. This is not going to be an ultra deep dive, but I hope it gives you the idea. What does James say? Steven, a video talking more on this would be very valuable. I already have a video if you're interested, James. I have a video called How to Create 16-Bit, and I have an entire course, actually, about every era of game music on Udemy. I'll type it in the chat real quick if you're interested, but it's stevenmelin.com/courses. You can get a discount there directly from our website. But I literally have a course that I did a deep dive into every era of video game music and what distinctly made each era. So like 8-bit versus 16-bit versus 32-bit versus N64 and PS1, how that's different from GBA and NES versus SNES versus Commodore 64 versus the Sega Master System and the Sega Genesis. Like I really did a deep dive into each category, and I show you the processes of how to edit audio and to downsample for each one to make it sound appropriate, and ultimately how to create your own samples. So if that's really interesting to you, that deep dive has already been done. And I also have some of those videos on YouTube as well. So I hope you'll enjoy that. I try not to keep any secrets. I think everyone needs to know this stuff, as a game composer especially. Not that all of you are game composers, but you get my point. Let's play some music, shall we? So here we go. Here is a clarinet. And I think just for our fun here today, I am going to put over here on my mixer window, you can see, I'm going to open up SNES Verb. This is not something that I can include for you, but it's really cheap. And if you're going to do this 16-bit style, do it. Do it properly. Get the SNES Verb. You can do this with tape delay, but then you have to study up on the math of how tape delay works to get it accurate. And that's something I also teach. It has to do with the ranges but this is just so much easier. You just twist a knob to the appropriate milliseconds, and the delay feedback is so much easier. But SNES Verb is by Impact Soundworks, and that actually comes for free if you get Super Audio Cart. So that might be something most of you already have, I imagine. But anyway, I'm going to pop this over here to my other screen. We're going to have some fun. So here's a Beer Blade toolkit, and I don't think the SNES Verb is necessary at all times, but I'll hit this little bypass button at times so you can kind of hear some of the difference. Let's have some fun. So my goal with most of my samples is to make them very musically playable. So I just try to put myself in the shoes of other composers thinking, okay, if I was going to write for a clarinet, it's probably going to be a solo line that kind of focuses in on the mid-range. So I'm going to make sure there's a little bit of vibrato in there, but I just don't want to get caught in the weeds of pitch bend modulation and pedal control and 5,000 key switches. It just makes no sense to me. Just freaking make a patch that sounds good and move on with your life. So you can hear it's not a typical clarinet, right? It's been downsampled, and it really has the shine and the glimmer, I guess. Right? It has that 16-bit thing. I don't know what else to say. But if we turn on the reverb, you'll notice how much of a difference it can make. It has that wobbly effect, and you can turn it down, whatever, but get it. I'll go ahead and give you guys a hint that I have another pack that I'll probably be releasing either today or tomorrow. And that's going to be the Monster Sanctuary toolkit. And that's mostly electronic sounds that I've created. And so the Beer Blade is very heavily orchestral. So if you want a pack that really focuses on the orchestral side, your strings, your woodwinds, your brass, your percussion, whatever, it's all going to be here in the orchestral piano. But then the Monster Sanctuary is much more geared towards that old, it's a very particular sound. You'll know it when you hear it, and I'll talk about that later. But I might even give you guys a little sample today if you're interested. But it's the electronic side of like a synth flute versus a real flute, a synth cello versus a real cello. And they're all massive patches that I've created and converted and downsampled and created contact instruments. I want this to be easy for your guys. I've done all the work, so just enjoy it and have fun. Isn't that, that's from Minish Cap. That really sounds like GBA to me. Let's move on. Let's pick some more. You'll also be very happy to know that I have pre-purged all of these for your convenience. So what that means for those uninitiated in the contact realm, I've compressed them because it's a zip file you download, but it's also compressed within context. So when you load a new patch, it's going to take a second to load all the memory. I mean, they're not big patches. This one's like 10 megabytes. But what that means is when you load a patch, it doesn't come preloaded with all the nonsense of 10 gigs worth of data. It's like, it's going to work, but it has to give itself a second to uncompress. And that way, it just saves space and RAM. And that's another conviction of mine. Like, why ruin people's lives? The idea that you load up a sample and it takes forever is just stupid. When their Contact has already provided the tools, you can literally hit a button that says compress when you save a file. It's just, I don't get it. Can you tell I'm a little passionate about this? Oh man, these electric pianos are the jam. I could play these all day. Let me crank these back up for you. I turned them down. Gives me a lot of RPG vibes. You know, like the ends. Maybe right here. Yay, so pretty. What else we got? So I have 2 electric pianos. And you notice it's loading right now, so it's not fully loaded, so that yellow box turns into the white. That one does not sound good with SNES Verb. Again, these are all sounds you hear in the game. I forgot what I used this one for. Again, this is years ago. Probably best for jazzy stuff. I'll let you decide what the best use of that is. And something fun I hope you guys will be a part of as part of our community. When you buy this, and if you want to write a little demo track and put hashtag simple samples audio or hashtag beardblade toolkit, I would love to share that online. I think that'd be a cool way for you guys to share your tracks too. So here's a patch that I programmed legato into. If it sounds janky, it's supposed to. It has that charm. What's up, Chance? You're missing a good stream today. So it's a monophonic patch that is locked, so you can't play 2 notes at once. I did that with the solo patches. Just to show you guys, if you wanted to turn that off, you could always go over here to the script editor and go down here to mono mode and turn it off. And that way, if you wanted to play polyphonically, you could, but it's not going to sound as good. I don't really know why you'd want to play it like that when the very next patch is a flute ensemble. So let's go to that. So I tried to not lock you into, a wall, to push you into a wall. So yeah. Chance, what did you miss? I don't know. Can y'all catch him up? I always feel like woodwinds need some SNES Verb on them. Like a lot. It really helps. And I also encourage it anytime if you want to use the pitch bend wheel, it's going to help you create more musical. It might not be more realistic, but it's more musical. Yeah. Yeah, Chance. I don't even know what I've talked about today because it's been all over the place. But I do know that I'm getting hungry and haven't had lunch yet, so I don't know how much longer I'm going to last. So these are very atypical French horns. I chose to do bright French horns. And I believe in the Monster Sanctuary one, I have natural French horns. So these two packs are made to kind of work in tandem together to get the orchestral side and the electronic side. These are not your typical horns, but this is the beard blade sound. It's all about heroic beard blade Branson. What can we do with this? It also doubles as a nice trombone section. I mean, horns are typically used for big melodic. Hooray. What else we got in here? There's 27 patches. Let's put some harmonica. This is probably the most signature beard blade sound. I use it a lot. Don't tell me it doesn't sound like it. Isn't that Flower Gardens or something? That's definitely from Yoshi's Island. Love it. This is the beard blade, the beach level. This is the first main theme, and it's harmonica. It's a lot of fun. Moving on. It's just fun to play through these. What else we got? You guys like it so far? Here's another good one. They're all good. So a couple of these patches I have delay built into the patch itself, and all you have to do to activate it is to hold down the pedal, which is a very natural way of playing. Here's the thing. When you play keyboard samples, you're playing like you're a piano player. It doesn't make any sense to me to do key switching because it impedes the flow of what a pianist naturally does. I'd much rather use a pedal because typically you're going to bake it into the patch. That way when you hold down the pedal, it already has this nice Super Nintendo style delay. I have a piano patch that does it as well. Perfect for any kind of storytelling moment. Something like that. Isn't that Chrono Trigger? Yep. Good stuff. Good stuff. YouTube, stop yelling at me that the stream's not going. I don't like that. There it is. Came back. So weird. Hey, thanks, Chris, for popping in for a little bit. Marimba is a vastly underappreciated instrument. It can really help. I use it a ton in Beard Blade. I mean, it's actually used in Ocarina of Time in the... Well, it's first of all, that's the link to the past. That's the Ganon fight. It's all marimba. And then actually they use it again. Koji Kondo uses it again in Ocarina of Time. The crazy whole tone section. Isn't it like yeah, it's so cool. And marimba is a kind of a quintessential Super Nintendo sound anyway, especially when you have really, really high delay. Like Donkey Kong Country, all of those soundtracks use that a ton. Earthbound uses it. What else am I thinking of? Final Fantasy uses it for like the Palm. Final Fantasy 4. That kind of thing. So I just think it's really cool to have these orchestral samples. You won't find this anywhere, which is why I had to make it. That's the truth. Sorry. I mean, if you guys compare this stuff to Super Audio Kart, it's just, I hope you see that it's completely different. Nothing wrong with Super Audio Kart. I just don't use it. It's like, I want it to be usable. Let's get this under control. Let's do some Mario Kart. What is it? So yeah, there's a lot of jazziness in Beard Blade. There's a bonus level. That's why it's so quiet. Oh, Xavier. He says, I played marimba and Glock in high school band. There were not a lot of parts. Yeah, I understand. Good old oboe. I also use a lot of oboe in my music. Nothing beats oboe with a huge reverb. How long does the oboe go? What do you mean? Like the length? These are all looped samples. I'll show you. See right there how it's a loop? Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. Now you can. Yay! There's that weird boom, boom, boom happening from the SNES Verb, but you get the idea. What else we got in this magic Mary Poppins bag? All sorts of surprises. Oboe ensemble, of course. I also intentionally included longer ranges than are natural because sometimes you just get really cool sound effects by playing like an oboe way lower than it should be. So I like it a lot. It actually helps. Gives you a lot more versatility out of these. They don't have to be used for their normal purposes. You can always make weird stuff out of it, right? Pan flute. That's without reverb, but that's a cool use. That almost sounds like Golden Sun. Remember that game? Game Boy Advance? Go all day with that. It's a cool patch. You don't see a lot of pan flute these days. Why not? Again, this is like the weird eclectic blend of beard blade for you. Okay, you ready? Probably the coolest patch in the whole dang thing. This is the one patch I spent the most time on because it's the most beard blade. Because it's so bright, yet it has that fizzle underneath. And it keeps that fizzle for all of the range. I use it a lot in the soundtrack and up a high like this. Also use it for these. Spoiler alert, that's the final boss. Have a lot of that with like dun, 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 dun. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It's such a cool sound. All right, but yeah, I use that piano all over it because I knew I had to. That was actually I think the first patch I ever made because I knew I had to have my own custom piano because it had to sound unique. Not my favorite, but it gets the job done. I don't use saxophones a lot, but this soundtrack actually, I ended up using the Barry sax quite a bit. And then we have a classic square wave. You know how to use those. And then, wow, we still got more. This is like Christmas. There's like 10 more patches, 5 more patches, something like that. Okay, we can't have this stream without a classic in the making. Here we go. You ready for this? Needs more reverb. Yay! Plus 5,000 other uses. Not included. You guys know how to use pits. But I included these because it fits within that orchestra. Because Because here's the thing. If you want to really get a shortcut, because these are all made in the same vein, you could put marimba in there. You could put a taiko drum, which I'll just add it in now. I'll even throw the piano in there. You can make your own multis that are pretty killer. So I'll give it a second. From Donkey Kong 64. So these are so easy to stack on top of each other. And taiko drum. Sounds like this. Hello, Donkey Kong Country, anybody? I promise I didn't steal that from them. I just made something similar. Boom 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 ba dun 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 dun. You get the picture. All right, let's move on. Got a few more. My second favorite, besides the piano, is the strings patch. This one's really special because this one is, oh man, it's just full of goodness. This is another one I spent a lot of time on to get right because both the low and the high strings sound really good. And this is so unique. I know you're probably thinking, oh, okay, Steven, I already have freaking string patches from 72 libraries, but you don't have 16-bit strings that sound good. I've never, like even the Super Audio Cart. Can I like do this for a second? Can I do a shootout? Is that legal? Can I do that? Let's see. Let me just see what else exists to prove my point. So let's open up. There's is contact. So here's Super Audio Cart. It's right there at the top. Let's open it up. Let's just see what the heck they have to offer. Because this is like, where else are you gonna find this? You have to make it yourself. Let's go to Super Nintendo. Let's just kind of see what the heck strings they have. So there's some strings. Are you kidding me? Wow, that's bad. Now those sound cool and they're unique and they really have an old school vibe, and I would still use those. They don't have a hint of realism at all. It's just not great. That's it. Like, that's it, the whole thing. And the only other patch I can think of that would come close is Koji, which I've talked about extensively on the show. I don't know. Let's see what they got. Strings. This is their one string patch, which I like. Like, what? It's synth strings, right? So we have that, or we could grab ourselves some good old beer blade strings. And that's like straight up N64 quality. And I intentionally made this to be both a short and a long patch. It's legato and staccato. There's a million uses for this, but I found the most joy when I combined this with the piano. So let me grab it. Open up the list here again. So let me put the piano in here with it. They just double so well together. Like, this is an entire track. Then short. So you can just go to town with that stuff. Layering these is a lot of fun. And let's see what's left here. We have 3 more. Timpani, trumpets. How do we get trumpets twice? Oh, of course. So we have timpani. So many good uses for that. You could put that in just about every track. Last 2, trumpets, which are a staple, of course. These are they're bright trumpets, just like the previous. These are not meant to be like soft, beautiful. That's the sound when you beat a level. Yep, very, very usable. Jet lag. This particular moment is all 16-bit. Yes, this is my first release. And then a xylophone is highly underutilized as well. So these are meant to be very chill in the background. Definitely gives the 16-bit vibes. After all, this whole island that Beardblade happens on, it's a very beachy vibe. So I use a lot of these. With all the other instruments. And there you go. Oh, I forgot one. Somehow. Oh, some of these got lost in the mix. I have to find them. Let me show off. Oh my gosh. I left out like the first 5 instruments. How'd that happen? That's dumb. All right, let's go back. Here we go. Here is the accordion. Go to town with that one. That's a good one. It's hard to find good accordions too. All of them suck. And then a baritone. Let me turn off the reverb. There we go. What else we got? Bass. Oh, we got 2 more. 2 more, guys. There's a lot here. Oh, I'm very proud of this bass. This is the best bass I've ever made. Let me make sure my legato is on. I think it is. Yeah, it's on. So what that means is it's monophonic. So when you hit the next key, it skips to that key and it adds a little slide. And depending on how hard you hit, add some vibrato. Another really good bass that I'll show you from the Monster Sanctuary toolkit, which is even funkier than this, but this one works for the Beardblade style. And then last but not least is the Beardblade Factory. So that's one of the levels called the Factory. There's a nighttime and a daytime version, and that's the main theme. And so I made a patch out of it. It's actually how I wrote the track, is I made this patch and then wrote the track, because I was like, I want to have access to the different sounds and bit crush it and stuff. That's so fun. I love that. So there you go, guys. There is the Beardblade toolkit. Remember, right now that is on sale for the launch. I'll show a few more things here in a second, but just as a reminder, you can also go grab the Enzo Hammer Dulcimer completely free. I will be adding more today. So keep an eye out. And the cool thing about downloading either of these today, you'll be added to the email list for the new company, Simple Samples Audio, which means that you'll get emails for all the updates. Whenever I put out a new library, whether it's free or otherwise, you'll get notifications through email, and I hope that serves you well. And of course, go follow the Facebook page and the Instagram page, and every day I'll be putting out stuff to help connect you to the latest and greatest, especially in these early weeks. I'm going to be really putting out a lot here. So let me give you some sneak peeks if you're into that kind of thing. You guys have hung out long enough to earn that at least. Let's talk about the future of Simple Samples and why this even exists. Well, as I mentioned before, I make a lot of stuff. So we're just going to have a contact derby right now where I just kind of pile through my stuff and let you guys decide. So here's the conversation piece. Either right now in the live chat or in the comments below, I would love to know which of the following, I'll probably spend 10 minutes here. I just want to run through ideas. They're all primitive demos, effectively. And I'd love to hear what you're most interested in. That way I know which ones to really chase after first. That way you're not having to wait months and months for some of the later ideas. But let me show you what's the closest to market. Let me open it up here. So I have exactly like I did with the Beard Blade toolkit, I have a Monster Sanctuary toolkit, which I know you guys are going to love as well. So let me open up what we have there and just show off some of the sounds because it's really cool. Awesome. So let me just kind of pop in here so you can kind of get a sneak peek. And they're not branded. They don't look good yet. So there's like a choir pad. We have some steel drums. There we go. Let me pull out some of the more interesting ones. They're all good, but they're just different. Here's the Sanctuary synth. Got some more. Ooh, I gotta show off the synth bass because this one's really good. Very thick. With 2 C's. Thick. What else? Sorry, my energy's a little bit lower than it was at the beginning, but the synth bell is another really big Monster Sanctuary staple. You actually hear that in every single track in Monster Sanctuary, just about. Synth cello is another personal favorite. I use this all the time. And as with anything, you add some reverb on these, you're going to get a completely different sound. It's going to really soar. Lou King, thanks for saying that about discount for those who joined the stream. I just decided to make the Beard Blade toolkit on sale right now. So if you want to go jump into that, it won't be up there super long. maybe through Friday. What's today? Thursday. So maybe for the next day or so, just to kind of celebrate the launch. So if you want that, go grab it. So that's that synth cello I use a lot in the soundtrack, and I'll let you figure out the rest from there. But some good stuff. That'll be a smaller pack. What else we got? All kinds of fun things. Let me pull out some. So one of you mentioned hurdy-gurdy. Let me show you the hurdy-gurdy. This thing is unreal. How good it sounds. Let me get set up here. I love how even all the key clicks are in there. I don't know how many hurdy-gurdies you've heard in your life, but that is so spot on. I'll even compare it for a second just to show what a leap forward this is. I've always considered Sona Kinetics hurdy-gurdy to be like unbeatable. But let me just let your eyes feast on this. Where is it? There it is. Is it like a $100 instrument or something? So here it is. Oh, that's so loud. So let me play a similar passage. Now, even if we take off that nasty reverb, which should not be there anyway, see if I can kill it, because it's so bad. There it is. Ugh. It's an awful reverb. Sounds good. I'm not going to hate on it, but just compare. So just, that's, I don't get it. I don't know why people have to make stuff sound bad in post. It sounded great in the recording. Let's keep it. Just program it in a smooth, easy way. But not everyone agrees with me. Oh well. What else we got? This one is totally not for sale. This is just a personal one, but maybe you can convince me otherwise. This might require some licensing that I don't really want to do, but let me just kind of sneak this on here. You wouldn't believe this exists if I told you. Recognize that? Like, that's literally her from Ori. In the palm of my hand. This one is not programmed well yet. There are no good ethnic vocals out there, so I freaking made one. There's that. I remember I recorded RLE for Realmweaver, so that's what came of that. What else would you guys be interested in? Here's my first attempt at a cello library. This is totally like, well, it's not really top secret anymore, but where is it? Yeah, let's play with this for a second. Have to make it legato real quick. Work some magic in the background. Haven't played with this yet. That's one of the ideas, is to create So yeah, have lots of fun with that. Has some work to do to get all the legatos working, but that's kind of the idea. I'm excited about that. I want to do a string trio library, a collection, violin, viola, and cello. I think that'd be really cool. I don't like anything on the market, so I might just have to make it myself. What else? I don't want to take much more of your time here, but I'm trying to look through my files here. What else might be a great addition? I have, surprisingly, I have like an aleatoric piano library that I've made. Pretty cool. Stuff, right? Anyway, that's where I think we'll end it for today. I have lots of like interesting percussion and stuff, but the whole idea is I want simple instruments, and hopefully you do too. That's the whole point. Now that we've done an official 2-hour stream, I'll be done here. But thank you guys just for hanging out today. I hope this is interesting for you, and at the very least, go grab the Dulcimer because that is free. As long as you have context 6 or higher, you can use that. And the Beard Blade Toolkit is on sale right now. What is that percentage? Let's see if we can do some basic math at this hour of life. There we go. Yep, so it is 34% off. Go enjoy that. 34% off. Launch sale. It's going to be good. Appreciate you guys. I would love if any of you write some demo tracks using, or you just write a normal track using one of these libraries. Hashtag Simple Samples Audio, or hashtag, you can do my name if you want, but hashtag, whatchamacallit, my brain is officially dead. Like hashtag whatever the library is. So you can say Enzo Hammer Dulcimer, or hashtag Beard Blade Toolkit. Can you tell I haven't eaten in a very long time and I'm officially dead? So I appreciate you guys. Check out the website, simplesamplesaudio.com. Follow me on social media, and there's going to be lots more goodies coming up today and tomorrow. So keep a lookout. Appreciate you guys. Have a good one. Bye.